Hi, I'm Steve Barsick Amstel with High Tech Design Safety, and we're doing a SIMI S2 instructional video series. This is the third of the three kind of tangential episodes on questions that we have about SIMI S2 and how to get there. The first one was about what to expect. The second one was about timeline and timing. And this third one is about cost and pricing and what's it going to cost us to get this done. So let's just dig right into that. And this is something you won't find a lot of people willing to talk about, but it's critical information for you to know to get your equipment done. As part of the scoping process early on, we'll help you understand what your costs are right away. Once we get it scoped, we can quote within 24 hours. So here's the ballpark. On the very, very low end, you're going to see prices of about $17,000 for a SIMI S2 process from beginning to end. On the high end, you're going to see in the $40,000 to $50,000, $55,000 range. Now, what's at each end? At the lower end is very, very simple equipment, no additional hazards other than typically electrical, and very well thought out and considered design practices that have a piece of equipment that we can come in and evaluate and get done for you in about 2 weeks. That's the very, very simple end of the product process. Now on the very, very high end, let's say you have a system that is using big RF generators and pyrophoric and poisonous or toxic gases and a bunch of lasers and a bunch of other hazards. That's really pushes the process to the upper end of that scale. We'll end up doing tracer gas testing, and we use an iterative process to figure out what your exhaust flow rates are. That's typically 2.5 days to do that for one piece of equipment. If you have those flammable gases in there too, we'll be doing LEL testing. And even if you need, we'll look at what the hazardous locations and explosion protection you might need for that. Let's say you're heating liquid chemicals and they're either toxic or flammable. Yet another hazard we'll delve into. If you have lasers in there, we'll do all the laser standard. So each of these hazards typically adds time, of course, but it adds anywhere from about $2,000 to $5,000 for normal hazards. And for extensive hazards like tracer gas testing, you're looking at, $10,000 to $16,000, maybe $17,000, depending on how involved that testing is. So what you're seeing is on the very, very low end, very simple equipment, a few weeks most, and in the $17,000 range. And for equipment with a lot of hazards, expect us to be on site 5 full days or maybe 3 days, 1 week for all the constructional requirements, and then maybe 2 or 2.5 days the following week for tracer gas testing. Now for all of these costs, we also need to include travel. So we have a fee-based line item for travel. That's what the costs are going to be. So you could say, I have a very simple piece of equipment, electrical only hazards, or a very simple piece of equipment with electrical and maybe some wafer handling hazards. You're going to be in the $17,000 to $22,000 range. If you're doing some very complex piece of equipment with, lots of gases or toxic gases and other things, you're going to be on that higher end of the range. What we see on average is a SIMI S2 evaluation is in the $22,000 to $5,000 range to the $32,000 range on average. And then you have these outliers of much simpler equipment and much more complex equipment. If you like having this information, please like and subscribe. And let us really figure out what your equipment is going to take to get evaluated. Let us do that scoping process and get you a quote so that you'll know where you stand on getting your equipment approved. Thank you very much. I'm Steve Barsick Amstel with High Tech Design Safety. Have a great day.